Let's teach him a lesson.
January 24th, 2023. Midnight, Braxton, Mississippi. 6 white police officers kicked down a door where 2 black men were sleeping. No warrant, no crime, no reason. What happened next was 2 hours of torture, so horrific that when one victim spoke, nobody believed him, until the evidence proved every word true. This is Michael and Eddie S. story. 2 men who survived what federal judge called pure hell, and 6 cops who called themselves the Goon Squad, known for brutal force and getting away with it. But this time they didn't. This time, 10 to 40 years in federal prison, the longest police brutality sentences in Mississippi history. Before we dive deeper, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. And if you believe in holding authority accountable when they abuse power, hit that subscribe button. It started with a phone call from a white neighbor. A white woman owned a home. Eddie was helping care for her, and staying there, Michael was visiting. 2 black men in a white woman's home in rural Mississippi. The neighbor reported suspicious activity to police. That call went to Brett, a high-ranking deputy. He texted a special group of officers. They called themselves the Goon Squad. But why that name? What you learn next will shock you. The Goon Squad was a secret group known for extreme violence. They would break into homes with no warrants, beat people until they confess, use tasers as torture, sexually assault suspects, then lie about everything. Other officers knew. The department knew. Nobody stopped them because they got results. The 6 officers, Brett 53, Hunter 31, Christian 29, Jeffrey 46, Daniel 28, and Joshua 32. All white, all armed, all ready to terrorize 2 black men. But they made one mistake that would expose everything. Michael and Eddie were inside, not breaking laws, not hurting anyone, just existing. Boom. The door exploded. 6 cops rushed in with guns drawn, screaming, demanding they get on the ground. Michael and Eddie were confused. What did they do wrong? Nothing. Being black in that house was enough crime. Within seconds, both were handcuffed, defenseless. The nightmare began. What happened next lasted 90 minutes. The officers didn't ask questions. They just attacked, punching faces repeatedly, kicking bodies, shocking them with tasers over and over. They used racial slurs, called them the N-word, told them to go back to their side of the river, meaning Jackson, the Black City. Then they brought out a sex toy and assaulted both men, officers using their power to torture and sexually abuse innocent men. But the worst was still coming. After 90 minutes, Officer Elward had an idea. Scare them, make them think they'd die. He put his gun in Michael's mouth. I'm going to count to 5. Michael thought he'd be executed. Eddie watched helpless. Elward counted. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bang. The gun went off. A bullet tore through Michael's mouth and neck. Blood everywhere. Michael choking, gasping. Elward looked shocked. Not supposed to be loaded. Instead of calling an ambulance, the Goon Squad did something more evil. Michael was on the floor, bleeding out. The officers panicked. Lieutenant Middleton took charge. The plan: don't call an ambulance yet. Plant drugs. Plant a gun. Get stories straight. Say Michael grabbed the gun during a struggle. Delete texts. They planted evidence. Created a fake crime scene. Then call for help. Michael almost died, but he survived. When he told the truth, nobody believed him. At the hospital, police arrested Michael, charged him with assaulting officers, said he attacked them. Eddie was also arrested. Both sat in jail on fake charges while the real criminals went home. For months, Michael told people what happened. Nobody believed him. They said the police wouldn't do that. But slowly, evidence started emerging. Daniel, the youngest member, couldn't live with it. April 12, 2023, 3 months later, he turned over the WhatsApp group chat to federal investigators. The officers thought those encrypted messages were safe, but Daniel handed them all over. The planning, the cover-up, the lies, everything. The FBI had proof, not just Michael's word, actual evidence. Suddenly, the Goon Squad wasn't untouchable. Once the investigation started, other victims came forward. Alan Schmidt told his story. December 2022, 1 month before Michael and Eddie, the Goon Squad pulled him over for an expired tag. They beat him, tossed him, and sexually assaulted him. Then dozens more came forward. Stories of breaking into homes, torture, waterboarding, and violence. This had been going on for years. The Goon Squad had terrorized the black community. Everybody knew. Nobody with power stopped it. Until Michael survived and Daniel turned on his brothers. August 14th, 2023. 7 months after the attack, all 6 officers pleaded guilty to everything: conspiracy against rights, deprivation of rights, obstruction of justice, home invasion, aggravated assault. They admitted breaking in without a warrant, torturing for 90 minutes, the sexual assault, Elward shooting Michael, planting drugs and guns. All 6 confessed. Now the question: how much prison time? March 18th, 2024, day before sentencing. Eddie, I'm here for a reason. I'm still fighting. Michael showed his scars. The bullet wound. The damage. Attorney Malik. Never in American history have 6 officers been sentenced at once for torturing black men. This is historic. The next day, sentences came down, and they were massive. March 19th to 21st, 2024. Federal Courthouse, Jackson, Mississippi. Hunter, 40 years. Christian, 40 years. Brett, 27 years. Jeffrey, 17.5 years. Daniel, 17.5 years. Joshua, 10 years. Judge Tom called their actions egregious and despicable. Maximum sentences allowed. But there were also state charges coming. April 10th, 2024. State Court. More sentences. Elward, 45 years. Deadman, 25. McAlpin, Middleton, Daniel, 20 each. Hartfield, 15. These run concurrent with federal time, but the message is clear. Mississippi says you're guilty. Attorney General Fitch. This abuse will not be tolerated. But how did the Goon Squad operate so long? Rankin County Sheriff Brian Bailey still has his job. Never faced charges. But everybody knows he knew about the Goon Squad. Younger deputies testified that to get overtime, you had to work with the Goon guys. It was an open secret. A culture of violence from the top. After sentencing, civil rights groups called for Bailey to resign. He refused. Said the officers went rogue. Attorney Malik Shabazz disagreed. Bailey is ultimately responsible. He created this poisonous culture. And now the Department of Justice is investigating the entire department. September 21st, 2024. The DOJ announced a civil rights investigation into the entire Rankin County Sheriff's Department. After Michael and Eddie's case, more complaints flooded in. Excessive tasers, unlawful home entries, racial slurs, dangerous tactics. Assistant AG said they'll investigate policies, training, and supervision. This could lead to federal takeover. More arrests. Everything could change. But what about Michael and Eddie? What do they get besides justice? Michael and Eddie filed a $400 million lawsuit against Rankin County and Sheriff Bailey. Why? The damage is permanent. Michael can't speak normally. The bullet destroyed his tongue. Constant pain. PTSD. Eddie has severe PTSD. Nightmares. Terrified of the police. The lawsuit argues the county created the culture that allowed the Goon Squad. Case still pending. Experts say the county will settle for millions. Those millions come from taxpayers, not the officers, not Bailey, regular people. After the case, Rankin County promised reforms. New training, better supervision, body camera for all officers, a misconduct hotline, and regular audits. Good changes. Necessary changes. But they came after Michael was shot, after Eddie was tortured, after years of abuse. Why didn't these reforms exist before? Nobody with power cared enough. The system protects bad cops until someone gets hurt badly enough to make national news. The Goon Squad case is historic, but not unique. Across America, officers abuse power, target black communities, torture suspects, and cover up crimes. Most don't get caught. Most victims don't survive. Most departments protect officers. Michael and Eddie got justice because they survived. Daniel turned. The feds investigated seriously, and a judge gave maximum sentences. Remove any factor, the Goon Squad would still operate. That's not justice. That's luck. Today, all 6 are in federal prison. Elward, 40 years, out at 71. Dedman, 40 years, out at 69. McAlpin, 27 years, out at 80. Milton, 17.5 years, out at 63. Daniel, 17.5 years, out at 45. Hartfield, 10 years, out at 42. None can ever work in law enforcement again. Michael and Eddie are free, but not okay. Michael struggles to speak, has nightmares. Eddie has PTSD, moved states to feel safe. Both await their civil lawsuit settlement for medical care and therapy. Both use their story to demand change. This happened to us, Michael said. But how many others didn't survive? 6 cops broke in, tortured 2 men, shot 1, tried to cover it up, got 10 to 40 years. This is accountability. Maximum sentences, federal charges, department investigations. But it shouldn't take near death and months of fighting. The system must change. Stop protecting bad cops. Charge them. Sentence them. If we don't demand better, the Goon Squad wasn't the last. It's just the last we know about. Like if these officers got what they deserve, subscribe to Rollins Justice for Accountability Stories comment. Should Sheriff Bailey be charged? Tell me. Share this. Make people see it. The only way to stop groups like the Goon Squad is exposure. Michael and Eddie survived, got justice. But how many others didn't? That's what we must ask.